Hello and welcome to the round 4 of the World Cup, game number 2. Yesterday we saw a lot of interesting games, but most of the games ended up in a draw. So today we might see a very exciting game on one hand, because it might be the last game for someone. On the other hand, of course, the players do not want to risk too much, so as well some short draws might be expected. So let's see. Let's go directly to the game. Just prior, let me check one thing, because last time somehow we've been not online and it was a problem. So let me double check that we are live, just to be sure that everything is actually going correctly. Yes, it seems like we are live, so this is nice. And just a brief check with leeches. Yes, we seem to be live. Okay, excellent. Everything seems to work. So let's start. We have on board 1, we have Sargis against Svane Fredrik. Yesterday we saw a draw, and today the current position, how should we evaluate it? I think it's as well very close to be equal. We have quite a solid structure for both. Maybe the b5 pawn could be weak. As well, the queen on e7 excellently placed. On the other hand, we have the knight. Knight is usually better than the bishop in case the queens are on the board. So black knight on h5 plus the queen is always a very dangerous combination. Black eventually will get the knight to e4, and then it's super dangerous with queen on a1. Queen is getting closer to the white king. I guess maybe white will manage to win the pawn on b5, but I think it's not enough to win the game. So most probably we will see a draw in the second game in the match between Sargis and Svane Fredrik. Okay, let's briefly check what actually happened in this game from move number 1. So we have d4, we have very solid, and g3. It means we are in the Catalan, one of the most played openings in chess. Short castle, d takes c4 as well. This is the main line, so d takes c4, queen a4. Most of the games we see are with a move a4 or queen c2. This time I see the move queen to a4. Of course, still theory, take b5, bishop b7. Yes, all is very normal. In case you play this line with white or you play this line with black, I would advise you to check the games of Giri and Peter Liko. Very well prepared players, and I think they analyze basically all this line still almost a draw, I would say. So in case you play this, check the games of Giri and Peter Liko. Bishop d2, all is pretty normal. Bishop e4. Bishop d2 is actually a tricky move, because the bishop tries to get it to a5 and makes this pressure on the pawn c7. So for example, in case black would do something normal like knight bd7, then immediately we would have the move bishop a5 being quite annoying, because the bishop is nicely placed. Again, the pawn on c7. The main idea of black is usually to get c7 to c5. So in case black manages to play c5, position is completely equal. So white will do anything possible to avoid that. So bishop d2, very normal. Bishop e4 is still theory. Queen c1 and c6. Yes, we can see as well the time 1:33, 1:32. Both players, they know what they are doing. We have the move a4 and knight bd7. All is pretty normal. Knight c3, bishop g6. Yes, all is as usual. Knight h4. Interesting. Knight h4. Okay, I'm not an expert in this position, so I might just not know the move knight h4, but looks normal. It activates the bishop, plus we want to get the bishop pair. Bishop h5. Nice. Some pressure on the e2 pawn, and I'm sure that both players still are in their handbook. So bishop h5, h3. Yeah, for sure still theory, because you don't do a move like h3 almost instantly. h3 was the idea of playing g4, obviously. You might ask, like, why not to take the pawn on c6? I think after bishop takes c6, there is rook c8, and this is the problem of having the queen on c1. So bishop cannot go nowhere because there is b4 coming next, and in case white is gonna be very greedy and win the second pawn, I think there is just queen to b6, and yes, this looks to be very dangerous. Still, there are moves like knight a7, so I'm not 100% sure because rook c7, maybe something like bishop a5, but now I think queen a7 is possible, so take. Can this be better for white? I don't think so. I think that only black can be better here, so, or approximately equal. As well, I would like to mention that my comments are done without an engine, so of course I do a lot of mistakes. Just we try to look at the positions like humans would do, because once you turn on the engine, there is no comeback. Basically, engines are so strong. Yes, they give you the precise evaluation of the position, but I don't think that humans are strong enough, even close, to be as strong as engines. So humans are thinking different than an engine. So once we turn the engine on, we lose the feeling for the position. It is just my opinion, of course. So in case you see a lot of mistakes in my comments, this is completely normal. So let's continue with the move h3 that we see in the game. Knight d5. Yes, knight is taking a solid position. Take. Everything is as well. Both players, I think, they still know what they're doing. And we have the move bishop f3. Okay, the knight on h4 is hanging, so bishop f3 is probably a must, because what else you do in case of knight takes f3? This cannot be, of course, any play for advantage. Black can simply go bishop g6 back, and position is equal. So we have the move bishop f3. Quite interesting that Sargsyan Shant is still in his variation, because I don't understand how this can be better for white. I think, yes, it's possible to fight for some very, very small advantage, but I think it objectively should be just a draw. And black is taking on h4. This is interesting, because why not just to take on f3? Let's say knight takes f3. How this position can be better for white? I don't know. I honestly don't know that, because it looks to me to be just equal. Black needs to be maybe a little bit precise, but in case we do something simple, maybe just to take, and maybe something like queen b8, next move is rook c8. Obviously, white has prepared something, so eventually there is some trick. Eventually there is something that maybe white has a small chance of being better, maybe, but it looks to be close to equal, at least to my understanding. We have more or less equal structure. Yes, maybe white has some small chances, like queen a6 first, or maybe rook c1, then queen a6, so maybe rook c1, then queen a6. On the other hand, rook c8 is coming. I don't know. I think it's really close to an equal position. So that black is taking on h4, of course, it's possible, but the question is, why do you take on h4? Now white is going to have like a bishop pair. I don't know. I'm not sure in that. It's like I would not do it myself. So bishop h4, bishop h5, bishop f6. Solid play, of course, by black. Still, position is should be around equal, but a little bit strange to do that. e3, of course, is nice, because now the bishop gets back to e2. Bishop e7, take, queen c7. White tries to get active. Looks normal, but why not to play first the move bishop e2 just to see what happens next? Because I don't think for black it's good to play the move b4. Still, position should be approximately equal. Probably queen b6 is what we would see now. I don't know if white can fight here for some small advantage, maybe something like take, queen c2, followed by rook to c1, queen b3. So try to make use out of bishop pair in a long run. I don't know, maybe bishop e2 would be also possible. So we have take, queen c7, very direct play, because there is this problem with the knight on d7 and the bishop on e7, knight f6. Of course, what else? The bishop is attacked. And as well, white is sort of forced, in my opinion, to take on e7 now with the queen, because What else you do in case we go back? I think even bishop d8 is looking completely normal because there's knight e4 coming next with the tempo. So bishop d8, or maybe we just defend the bishop in some other way. Even simple moves like, I don't know, how can we defend the bishop in the best way? Maybe first even to play knight to e4 is looking good because we attack the bishop on d2, so white has to decide to go like bishop a5, looks strange. Bishop e1 is looking strange, and after queen takes e7, for example, we take on d2, the rook is under attack, so rook has to be moved somewhere. And then black is gonna play or knight c4 or knight e4 back. b5 pawn might be even won by white, but I think it's not enough to win the game because queen a2 is coming, rook b8 is coming. I think black should have enough compensation. It looks more or less like an equal position in my opinion. So maybe white has missed the move knight f6, but what else? What else black is capable of playing here? I don't see something else, because in case black just protects the knight on d7, white is in time to play rook c1. This might be quite unpleasant. So knight f6, white takes on e7. Maybe the white player thought that this position is actually better for white. I'm not sure that in case black manages this knight f6, knight e4, I don't see how white should be better. Rook c1, rook c8, yes of course, let's change, rook c5, logical, and we have the move h6, which is also pretty normal. Black is getting ready for knight f6, followed by knight e4, white bishop c3. So after 20 minutes of thinking, I guess first he wanted to take on b5. Otherwise he would not be thinking for so long, but just let's imagine white would take. Maybe the idea is to play rook to b7 next. So first of all, we have to calculate queen a1 check, because it looks very logical. King has to go to g2, and now we might be able to play queen b1 with the idea of queen e4 check, which looks actually pretty normal, because what can white do against a queen e4 check? So there might be rook b7. And here we have to think if we go first queen f5, or maybe we even give a check, but then is this move f3. Now we go like queen g6, attacking the pawn on g3. And in case of g4, we can get very active with the move rook to c2. So maybe white has to go like king h2 or something, king g1. I don't really know where it's better to put the king. Let's say, I don't know, king h2 is looking strange because black can just go queen f3. But as well, after king g1, I think we have the option of queen f3. So in both cases, position of black is looking nice. This is why after h6 we have the move bishop c3 being made to block the rook. On the other hand, knight f6, yes, we see knight f6 being played by Svane Frederick, very logical. There is knight e4 coming next. I cannot change my mind, at least at the current moment. I think the game is going to end in a draw, except white has something immediate, but I don't see what. Knight e4 is coming. We cannot force black to take on c5, there is no way, and I guess after rook takes b5, black should have enough compensation to hold position to a draw. So it looks like an equal position to me. Let's go for the next game. We have the game between Ira Gassi and Peter Liko. First game, it was a short draw, very interesting opening, and actually I think white, so Peter Liko, could have continued playing for a win, but he just repeated the moves. This was a little disappointing, I would say, because I think in World Cup, where you have just two games, one game was white, one game was black, and you have a chance to push, I think you should, because if you just be very solid, at some moment you miss some opportunities, but your opponent is not going to miss them, especially we know that Ira Gassi is pushing very hard, so you should take your chances. Leko did not do that, so it was just a short draw, and now we have the second game. Of course, to win against Peter Liko is a very difficult task. But I think in rapid chess and in blitz chess, Ira Gassi is going to have quite a big advantage, so he's going to be a big favorite. Let's see what we have now. So Ira Gassi white, Peter Liko is black. We have the Nimzo and Queen C2 Nimzo, short castle, E4 line. Alright, so it's a very forced line that Iragasi is choosing to play against Peter Liko. All is theory, take, knight c6, and queen a5 line is being played by Liko. Okay, interesting. And f6, all is forced. Take. All is pretty normal. Bishop e3. I always thought that this position should be very close to be equal. So curious what Iragasi had in mind. We have the move b5 been made by Liko. A very strong strategic decision. b5, because we have the white square bishop, so we try to make the bishop as strong as possible. Black has a bad structure. On the other hand, the king is on f1, so position should be around equal. We have c takes, b5 played automatically by Iragasi. He's so well prepared. It's unbelievable, because Liko could have played so many different lines. But Iragasi, yeah, he knows it all. I have no idea how he's doing that, because how to know everything. Amazing. So it means that we see Arjun has an excellent memory to memorize all the things. It's not just hard work, it's more than hard work, because you might work hard, but you are incapable of remembering all this amount of lines. But he remembers. He remembers everything. Quite nice. Huge, actually. Queen takes b5. King g1. Now king wants to escape by playing h3 and king h2 next. We have bishop on b7, knight to g3, all is normal. Knight e7, nice move by Liko. Yeah, I think it should be just equal. Rook b1, queen c6, why not? So we have an endgame, and h3, knight f5. Yeah, I think it looks very equal to me, even if white manages to win, I don't know what, but maybe the pawn a4 or maybe something else. It should be still a draw. Knight h5, rook f7, king h2. I cannot imagine that Iragasi will get actually any chances to win here. Liko is also very safe. As we can see, white is pushing, so white wants more than a draw. But is there an objective chance to achieve more than a draw? I don't think so. So to me, position is looking equal. Knight on h5 is not the best. There is no knight f4 any longer, because rook obviously can take it. Knight will have to go like g3, e2, takes a lot of time to get back into the game. Knight on c4 is hanging at the current moment. I guess Peter Liko is considering, should I just protect the knight by playing rook c8, maybe then rook c7, so from the f line we switch to the c file, and or should I just go back with a knight on d6 straight away? Both is looking very solid for black, so I think it will be another draw, so we're gonna see a tie break. Then we have Dubov against Praggnanandhaa. It's already a draw, and actually in the first game of the match, Praggnanandhaa tried to be very creative in the opening. He played Marshall, and strange line was h3, a4, and Dubov managed to get a very promising position with the black pieces. And then even at some moment he could win. He could win the game. It was quite a nice tactic, but he had 3 minutes, 4 minutes to find it. Well, I think Praggnanandhaa been a bit lucky, because Dubov is tactically quite strong. So Dubov has missed the opportunity to win with the black pieces in the first game. Such an important miss. And now the second game ends in a draw. Let's take a look. We have all theory, of course, here. So we have the Vienna, and this line is counted as maybe a little bit better for white, but it is usually a long forced lines. We have the line with knight b5, knight takes e4. All right, so usually we see more often the line with bishop takes f6 here, but knight b5 is also a forced line. Queen d4, short castle takes a6. Yes, precisely. This is still a forced line. It's a rare line, but it's a forced line. So we get this position, and Dubov went for the current position with white. Maybe he thought draw is fine, and in case maybe Praggnanandhaa forgets something, I might achieve a small plus. But I think objectively speaking, this is just equal, because even if white manages to win the pawn back on e6, it's still very close to draw. So rook e1, putting some pressure on the pawn, rook e8 defends the pawn. Yeah, I think it is just equal. c4. So yeah, this is just equal on a high level, of course, because still a lot of tactics theoretically possible, but the guys in the top level, they never miss it, or very rarely miss such tactics with a lot of time on the clock. Draw is the most expected result, and indeed rook takes d7 I think is just forcing a draw, because now we have this massive exchanges, and yes, b7 pawn is gonna fall, a2 pawn is gonna fall, so it's gonna be a draw. And yes, so not a very interesting game. I think Dubov just decided, okay, he tries some little things in the opening. In case it doesn't work out, tie break is fine. I think Dubov is very confident in his rapid and blitz skills, and indeed he managed to prove it on different occasions that he's extremely good in rapid and blitz chess. So somehow he's playing classical, quite safe. In case you push against me, I might counterattack, and then I might actually win the game. So this is almost what we saw yesterday. In case you are solid, I am solid, let's play rapid, let's play blitz. I think this is a strategy of Dubov for the World Cup. So we see a fast draw. Next game is between the two Germans, Donchenko and Bluebaum. Yesterday, Bluebaum tried to create some problems to Donchenko, but actually he did not manage, and it was a draw. Actually, a nice game to watch as well. And here is the second classical game between the Germans. Actually, both of them playing a great tournament, having great tournament so far. So let us start from move number one. So c4, e6. c4 is being played to avoid some lines of the Queen's Gambit, but here we have one of the main lines of the Queen's Gambit, take, bishop f4, yeah, all is pretty standard. And here we have this move c5. A lot of games on the move c5, basically doesn't matter what white does. We have the c5. 20 years ago, not so many players like to have this isolated pawn positions, but currently the computers are just showing it's in equal position, so we have a lot of this c5 move being made. c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, all is theory, both players with 132 and 130 on the clock. Typical d5, knight d4 position, excuse me, knight takes, takes. So can this endgame be objectively better for white? I don't think so personally. I think it's like, yeah, so small the advantage for white that it should be a draw. Bishop e6, bishop d3, a6. Yeah, this is strange a little bit to play a6. Of course, black defends from this idea, knight to b5, knight c7. But I don't think that a6 is a must, because a6 usually gives opportunity for knight a4. And knight eventually goes to c5 or b6. So I'm not sure that black has to rush with the move a6 in this position. I think black could have played something along the lines like rook ac8 first. Now to play knight to b5 followed by knight c7 doesn't look so dangerous to me. So I think it should be just equal. a6, knight a4, this is a problem. Yeah, good play by Donchenko. Knight d7, maybe black thought that knight on d7 is fine, but we have the problem with the knight c5 at the right moment, and b4. Yeah, I like the move b4. Very nice push by Donchenko. Knight c5 is coming next. Bishop f6, because in case bishop takes b4, I think we can play, I don't know which rook to choose from. Let's say we play rook fb1, because in case of a5 we have the move a3, the bishop has to go back. Sorry, mouse slip. So bishop has to go back, and rook takes b7. Now white might be better because of the bishop on f4. Bishop controls the square b8. Difficult to do something against the rook on b7. Not easy now for black. Still, yes, black should have good chances to hold this position, but it is unpleasant. It is getting unpleasant. This is not what Bluebaum would like to defend. This is why we see the move bishop f6 been made. Okay, bishop e3, yes, solid. Knight c5 is coming next. Position of black is slowly getting unpleasant. Knight b8, actually nice move by black. Knight is getting to c6. Strong play by blue bomb. I like it. Knight b8, very nice. Rook knight b6, rook a7. It looks like the rook is caught on a7, but in fact we have the move knight d7 or bishop d8. So the rook is doing fine on a7, and eventually knight c6 is coming next with a pressure on d4. So black is defending well. f4, nice. Good play by both players. As well, Donchenko. He's pushing for the full point. f5 is coming and knight takes d5 next. Bishop d8, getting out knight from b6. Knight goes back. Again, white knight wants to go to c5, knight c6, a3, because the b4 pawn has to be protected. f5. Okay. The question is, should white include the move f5 or f5? Knight takes b4 is possible. So we take on e6, for example, knight takes d3. Still, the rook on a7 is currently out of the game, but difficult to make use of that. So probably it is okay for black. On the other hand, I'm not 100% sure because the knight as well is not having too many squares to go, just knight to b4. So white might try to play like a3 and try to catch the knight on d3. I don't know, it has to be calculated. There is as well move b5 that frees the knight from d3, but position is on the limit, so it has to be calculated. Probably this is what Donchenko did, and he decided that a3 is just the safer option. Just defending the pawn on b4 is making sense. So we see the move f5 by black. Risky play by black. I don't know. Now rook c1. So the idea is, in case of knight c5, to probably go back to c8 and then to play b6, because now the pawn on a6 is protected. On the other hand, it's still not so protected, because b6, knight takes a6, bishop takes, and then we will have the move b5 attacking knight c6 and a6. So I don't know, maybe the idea of black is to play bishop f6 first, but white can do a lot of things against this bishop f6. It looks like white is doing a little better in my opinion. So maybe knight c5. Instead, we see the move rook c1, which is also pretty logical. No problems with that. Bishop f6 and rook e1. This is strange. This is a bit strange. The idea of white is not to decide yet to put the knight on c5 or try to get the knight on b6. Actually, smart play by Donchenko, but is it working? Because he gives a lot of time to black. I don't know. Rook a8. The black rook tries to get back to the game. Now we see the move knight c5, bishop c8. Actually, nice play by white. Now I like it because it fits well together. Good play by Donchenko. Very nice game. Bishop b1. Bishop a2 is the next move of white. Yeah, Donchenko is playing a very nice game. So for those of you who would like to take a look at his game against Giri, also very nice his win against Anish Giri. So he took him out of the World Cup with a very convincing win and strong play. So Donchenko is playing very well. This idea bishop b1, bishop a2 is looking really nice. Black takes. Maybe there is nothing better. Bishop a2, rook d8, bishop f2. So he's not even trying to win the pawn back by playing rook c2, because maybe after rook to c2 there is something like knight on rook d1. I mean, of course, rook cd1, knight c2 now. So what do we have? In case we take on d5, black is going to take and just to play king f8. But is it so easy, everything? Rook takes d5, take. Now let's say king f8. Maybe king f8 is actually not the best, because we have this trick with a knight e6 check followed by bishop c5 check, and the rook is going to take the bishop on e6. So maybe it is better for black to go king h8. Can white do something against this threat of knight e1, knight takes e3? No, I don't see. So I think yes, it is just good for black, because in case we go rook e2, black can take on e3, and then we have this bishop d4. So seems to work for blue bomb. That's why we have the move bishop f2 being played, so it is a preparation for the move rook cd1. Now king f8 and knight a4. Knight is going back to b6 this time. Wow, very nice play by Donchenko actually. Very, very nice play by Donchenko. The question might be only why not to play knight to a4 instantly, but probably there is bishop e6. I guess this should be the idea, because in case bishop takes d4, there is bishop takes d4 check. So white is not winning the piece on e6. That's why we have the move bishop f2 been made first, king f8. Getting out of the line is looking normal. And knight a4. Now we have Donchenko with 26 minutes on the clock and just 4 minutes for blue bomb, still 12 moves to go. The position of white is looking nice. This might be a chance for a full point for Donchenko. There is no more bishop e6 because of rook cd1. So black is getting outplayed. I think blue bomb is under pressure. We have the move b5, but what happens in case of knight to b6 and just knight takes d5 next? Can blue bomb defend this position? It looks really bad for black. I don't know. I think knight b6, knight takes d5, and this is looking bad for black. It looks very bad for black. I think Donchenko might win and get to the round number 5 of the FIDE World Cup. Wow, unbelievable result for Alexander Donchenko. Yeah. Great shape, playing great chess. This game is so nice by him. Huge game, just huge game, and a great example that the symmetrical positions endgames, it's not a draw. Yes, it is very close to equal, but you should try to push for a win, and as we can see that it's possible to win games even on the highest level. So beautiful example. Next we have Yakuboyev and Pranav. The first game been not very exciting. It was a draw. And here is the second game of the match. So we have e4, e5, d4. Now the Scottish opening, all is pretty normal. So this is the main line, and bishop a6. Black has here two main choices to go first, knight b6 or bishop a6. Both is, I think, okay for black. Knight to d2, and we have the move f6. A little strange that Pranav sought here for 8 minutes because position is so well known. Maybe he expected more the move, or there was a move b3, but knight d2 as well is not a rare continuation. So he sought and played f6. Looks normal f6. g3. Wow. Yakuboyev sought 12 minutes and played the move g3. g3 is spectacular. He's just giving away the pawn on e5. I think he knew that. I don't think he played it over the board. At least it would be very strange to play a move like g3 over the board. In case white would take on f6. Usually these endgames are just close to equal, so this is not a play to be better with white. That's why we see the move g3 being made, but a bit crazy to play g3, to be honest, because there is as well queen e4 like a possible option. C takes d5 would be the threat. g3. Okay, so he gives up on the pawn and just castle short side. So the idea of white, we are pawn down, but the bishop on a6 is very bad. Queen e6, yes, making extra pressure on the c4 pawn as well. The bishop gets into the game. Very normal move. a3. What is that? Wow, this is weird. a3. I don't know. I think this would be impossible for me to play move like a3. b3 with the idea of bishop b2. Yes, this is looking normal, but to play a3, no idea. No idea, because in case we go b4, b5, this might be the idea, but the rook can be moved somewhere. So, I don't know. This is looking strange. Bishop c5, yes, pretty normal. Bishop d4 as well. looks normal. Rook b8 against b5, yes, looks normal. Bishop b2, take, short castle. How to evaluate such a position? I think it can be only better for black. I don't see chance for white to be better here. Maybe white has enough compensation because the bishop on a6 is still completely out of the game and it's difficult to get the bishop into the game. In case we play d6 with the idea like bishop c8 and bishop d7, the c6 pawn is going to get lost. Somewhere b5 might be possible as well, so probably white has enough compensation to be equal, but black is a pawn up, so very strange opening from Yakuboyev. I don't get the point of this opening. So to fight for a draw with white, this cannot be the idea. Rook c1 as well. What is the sense of that? What could be the idea for white? I don't know, because b5, bishop b7, this is not an idea. I don't know. I don't know why he has played the move rook c1. We have the move c5 been played by black. Yes, this is logical because in case of b takes c5, then black is having just a better position. Bad pawns. Knight b3, normal. Take, knight d6, takes. Bishop c8. So rook a1, trying to get some counterplay. But I think white is fighting for a draw. I cannot imagine that black is worse here. a6, yeah. Of course, we defend. Pawn on b4, eventually a weakness. h3, yeah. It's this move shows that I think the position of black is slightly better. He sees at least no direct way for white to get the pawn back. So queen e7, he gives up on the pawn a6. Strange. Queen e7, was it a must? Because take, we take b4, take e5. Is it not a draw? We see queen e1 defending the pawn on b4. The question is, can white make a draw just by taking on a6? So let's say take, and just take on e5. Is it not a draw? I don't know. I think except I miss something instantly, it should be just a draw, because in case you take on c4, I think I should have just a simple move like rook a7 should even make a draw. Bishop is too strong. The bishop is too strong. So I believe white should be capable of making a draw here. Maybe white doesn't want the draw, but this is strange to me, because how to be better with white here? Rook b6, yeah, the pawn is now protected. Knight a4, rook e2, queen f7, c4 is hanging. It's a bit tactical, but black is playing for a win in my opinion. Except he missed something, but can black take the pawn on c4? Queen takes c4, maybe there is rook c1 and the black queen has no good squares to go. Could it be? In case of queen to b3, we have knight c5 coming. So maybe something like queen a2 attacking the knight on a4. But as well here, even knight c3 is looking fine, yeah. The bishop on c8 is completely out of the game. Yes, white should have decent compensation at least. Maybe white is actually better now. I don't know, something strange happened. Rook d6, maybe not the most precise. I think he could make just a draw by going back and players would repeat the moves, but he plays for a win with black, which is normal, because why not? But maybe he has missed that white can simply take on e5. I don't know. I don't understand the idea of Pranav, because position is getting tricky now. In case black has nothing, then white is doing better. So yeah, I don't know. He has as well just 8 minutes left. Exciting game, but very strange game. I do not understand the opening of white just to give a pawn. It doesn't seem like the best idea ever, but yeah, maybe it's okay to play. And now black might be even having some trouble, but I think before black just played for a win. That's why we see black eventually in trouble. maybe Pranav wanted too much. Let's go for the second for the next game. It is between Kamer and Yesipenko. Yesterday we saw a draw between the players. Quite a solid draw, so not an interesting game to watch. This time Kamer started with the move c4. We have again Queen's Gambit. Very popular now to play the Queen's Gambit, and as I said before, c5 basically it doesn't matter what white plays. We saw the move h3, c5 in Donchenko, so now we have bishop d3, still c5. Easy to remember for black. Just push the move c5 and you're gonna be alright. Short castle, take. So again, we have this symmetrical position. Maybe Kamer wants to be careful. He thinks, alright, I'm good in rapid and blitz chess, so tiebreak is fine to me. Let me play this super little better position. Bishop g4, queen b3, bishop d6. Both players are playing super fast. We have 131 for Yesipenko. Bishop e5, bishop e6, yeah, all seem to be theory. Bishop takes and knight d7, yeah. So the structure of white is a bit better, but usually it's not enough to win the game. And after rook fe1, Yesipenko starts to think. So probably he's been considering, should I play knight c5 and take the bishop on d3, or should I go like queen to b6? I guess both is looking normal. Rook c8, rook d1, rook c4. Oh, interesting. Interesting play by black, very creative. Just was it necessarily needed to play like move like rook c4? I guess it's possible to continue with something more simple, but rook c1 of course, rook c4 of course, very creative. Funny play by black. Now queen to e3. So in case of taking on c4, we take back, and it's difficult to defend the knight on b5. We have queen a4, I guess, because there is nothing else, but then we have the knight c5 move. So yeah, the knight on b5 is getting lost as well if in case of queen to b4, a6. So trouble. Now, rook c4, nice. Queen e3, take, and rook c2. So slightly better endgame for white, I guess, but it's just too small, I think, to fight for a real advantage. Pawn on e5 is being lost. Of course, white is going to have enough compensation for that. So we have the move f4, bishop g4. No good square to go for the knight from e5, seems like. Maybe, because if the knight goes to a passive position, for example, like knight d7, then we have this bishop d3 idea followed by f5. That's why we have bishop g4 being played. Take knight g6 is a bit strange. White to put the knight on g6 should be enough to make a draw, but just a strange position. Knight g6, f5, knight e7. Some very forced lines out of nowhere, yeah, because the position been just so calm, and suddenly a lot of tricks, a lot of calculation. Rook e5, knight c6. Probably black cannot take on f5 because of the move h3. Yes, the bishop has no squares to go. The knight on f5 is getting lost. That's why knight c6, rook e1. Again, very tactical play, and a rook to d2. So in case of bishop takes f5, there's probably knight d6 and b7 pawn is getting lost. But it's still okay for black. How this can be better for white, it is impossible. So I think maybe actually Yesipenko is trying to win the game. So I have the move rook to d2 been played. It's a play for a win. Kamer with just 6 minutes on the clock. Yesipenko with 9. There are still 14 moves to make till move 40 to get additional time. So yes, black is playing for a win. Out of nowhere, black is playing for a win. Wow. Very good game by Yesipenko. Of course, Kamer is not happy with his play. Slightly better position. Now he has to fight for a draw. I'm sure that Kamer is very safe, so he's gonna make the draw, or probably he should be able to make a draw. But it's pity. When imagine you're white, you have slightly better position out of opening, very safe. You'll hope to push a little bit. In case you manage to get advantage, you play for a win. If draw, in both cases, it's alright. But now white has to fight for a draw, so Kamer is in small trouble. in my opinion, still, it should be just a draw, so I cannot imagine that black will get any real chances to play for a win here, so most probably we're gonna see a draw. We have Matsodlu and VE currently. What is that? Who is playing for a win? I guess black is playing for a win. Wow, this is a bit unexpected, because actually black might be able to play something like bishop d5 and then bishop g2 back, trying to win the pawn on h3. So black is pushing. Probably this is a draw, but black is pushing. So let's see what happened in this game. The first game been a boring draw, and in the second game we have the Russian opening, or Petrov as this is called, d4 line. All is theory. Oh, knight takes e4. This is surprising because I thought it just a draw. Knight d4. Let's see what Parham has prepared. Bishop f4, g5, bishop g3. All is theory. h5, h3, h4, bishop a2, h2. Everything is theory. Bishop c4, c6. This is the first time that we thought a little bit before playing c6. a3 played very fast by Parham, so still theory. a5, not allowing the move b4. All right, looks normal. Bishop e2. So white is going back to e2. What could be the idea of this move? Not sure. Let's see. Bishop b6. Okay, long castle and knight d3. Very tactical approach by VE. If it works, of course, very strong. Knight to d3 might give just immediately, basically, yeah, an equal play. But a risky move to make. So bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes e4, bishop takes f2. So the king on e8 is not in a great shape. On the other hand, not so many pieces left in case black is going to be in time for bishop e6 and rook d8. Only black might be able to play for a win. We have to move rook to d3. Okay, doubling the rooks on the d file or on the f file. Bishop e6, g4. Oh, what is g4? I think Parham is playing for a win, but it is a bad decision because it looks like just an equal position. So of course white can equalize very easily and prepare for the rapid tiebreak. Instead of, Parham is playing the move g4. He hopes to get slightly better play, but I don't understand how to get a better play for white here. Now the bishop on h2 is just horrible. So what is the hope to get to be better for white? Don't understand that. King e7, because black as well could just take, and probably it would be just a draw because king e7 in case white takes on g5, black takes on h3, and that's it. VE plays king e7. He thought for 10 minutes, so black plays for a win, I think. Otherwise we would see the move h takes g3. Black is playing for a win. I think that it's normal already, especially after a move like g4. I don't understand the idea of this move. King e7 or bishop g1. Okay, rook d8. Yes, slightly better for black. Better structure. We have the pawn on h3, so somewhere bishop d5 followed by bishop g2 might be an idea. Still, yes, position is a draw, but black is pushing. Rook d8. King is getting to e3. Important position for the white king. Rook f4 and rook f1. Yeah, so good play by white. White is changing the rooks. It's important. The only problem is not to get somewhere in Zugzwang. So c4, bishop h1. The problem is that bishop from f1 cannot be moved. b4, take, king e6, king d4, b6. All right, c5, take, and king e7, king e3, king e7, and they repeat the moves. So we have f6 being played. Okay, so he plays for a win. The question is, what would happen in case of bishop d5? So king cannot be moved. I guess white has to play like somewhere like bishop e2, for example, and we go bishop on g2. Yes, bishop g2. So check, for example, king e7, king e3, bishop takes a3, and maybe there is king f3. So there is no bishop f1. How to play for black here? Maybe like f6. But this is looking like a draw, I guess, yeah. Because take, and how to make a draw with white actually? Not so easy. Maybe I'm missing something, but king e5 is coming next, and we are not in time for this bishop d3, bishop e4 to get the pawn on c6 under attack, as well to play bishop e2 followed by king f2, king g1, king h2 to win the bishop on h3. Takes too much time. Maybe some little chances here to win for black. So how to equalize to 100%? Maybe white could try something else. So to play bishop d3, and after bishop g2 to give a check, king e7 and king e3. So yes, this is looking better, because now after king f2 it's very hard for black to improve the position. In case of f6 we have the move e6, and white can wait forever with king g1, king f2, king g1, king f2, and yes, this is a draw. So this is a defense for white to play in this position, not bishop e2, but to play bishop on d3. That's why we see in the game the move f6 been made, and now the bishop d5. So in case of taking, bishop has to go somewhere. Then we have the bishop g2 move, and in case of king to e3, then we have the king e5 move, and again same story. So bishop has to move, and then bishop g2 is coming next. Very interesting, because VE is getting chances. VE is getting chances to win the game. Very, very interesting, because out of nowhere it looked like it should be a draw already. The rooks are changed, but suddenly this Zugzwang problem, because of the structure h3, g4, so the move g4 really been not too good from Parham. In long term, we see how VE exploits this weakness on h3. Very nice idea from VE. Actually, this beautiful moment when VE played bishop d5, bishop h1. So let's check at this moment. Bishop d5, bishop h1, beautiful. Bishop d5, because in case you don't play the move bishop d5, there is just c4 and the bishop is blocked on e6, so it is a draw. Now bishop d5, bishop h1, beautiful. The idea is to get this f6 or a c5 or the position in the game. So at some moment white is going to be in Zugzwang. So we see a Zugzwang. Now bishop d3 played by Parham, bishop g2 obviously played by VE. So currently we are move 39, and just one more move to make for VE, then he gets additional time on the clock. It is so important to have some time here for black, because at some moment black will be able to take the pawn on h3, and then it's important, is it a win or is it just a draw? So time is so relevant. We have bishop e4 played by Parham, so Parham is risking a lot, because now he wants to take the pawn on c6, but black is gonna take the pawn on g4. Is it a draw? Very difficult to say, because we have the right corner, so corner is white square, and we have the light square bishop. So is it a draw? I'm not so sure any longer. So maybe Parham wants to go like bishop f3, but does it help? This is a question. Wow. Suddenly maybe black is getting real chances to win the game. Of course, bishop takes c6 is the question. It might be just a draw, but maybe not. We will see. We will see. So the players just crossed the 40th move. Now they have some time to think. It's gonna be interesting. Let's check the next game, which already ended in a draw. The previous game been won very easily by Martinez with the black pieces against Sarana. So Sarana in a must-win situation with the black pieces, and he got 0 chances. Very funny that we see the move c3 been played. One of the safest openings actually as well. Straight away c3 is super safe. When you want to make a draw, it's an excellent choice. Knight f6, e5, all is theory, all is theory. We see the move d6 as well. This is theory, short castle. And Sarana thinks a little bit and plays the move d3. The problem is that the main line is with the move bishop e6. But the problem in this line is that it's basically a forced draw. So black has to try to win the game. So Sarana thinks, okay, let's play the move d3, but this ends up with knight a3. Nice move. Knight is getting to b5. Bishop f5. Black tries to keep the bishop on the pawn on d3 alive. Knight b5, queen d7, bishop f4. Nice play by Martinez. Knight c7 coming next. Rook c8 and boom. Knight takes a7. Very nice play by Martinez. I think objectively speaking, position of black is lost. Just Sarana doesn't really care. To lose or to make a draw is same. Just 5 elo points difference, which does not matter when you play a World Cup. So yeah, sad news on move 13 for Sarana. Takes knight e5, attacking the queen on d7, and as well bishop takes f7 coming next. So nice sacrifice by Martinez. Knight e5, very nice. And bishop b3 back. There is knight f7 coming next. I think, of course, in case it will be the first game of the match, Martinez, I guess, would just crush Sarana, because position of black is looking so bad. With a king on d8, all the pieces are so poorly placed. There's, let's say, 4a5 coming somewhere. d3 is weak as this position is looking so bad. But bishop b3, king 8, bishop f7, the players repeat the moves because it's a result that is good for Martinez. He is in the next round of the World Cup. That's why he repeats the moves. Of course, he understands that the position of white is winning. Just it doesn't matter to win this game or to make a draw. The main goal is to get to the next round of the World Cup, and he manages. So congratulations to Martinez Alcantara. Very convincing play in both games, and as well in the matches before. He's playing very nice chess. Then we have Grandelius and Hare Krishna. First game was not a very interesting draw, and as we can see, this is a end position of the game number 2 as well. Seems like just a boring draw. Let's see what happened actually. So we have Italian game with the move h6, move order g6. Okay, most of the players choose to play bishop c5, and so we have the move g6, which is also okay. d4 takes, e5 is quite a rare line actually. Knight h7, short castle. Okay, probably the idea is that after c takes d4 there is d5. Knight h7, of course, suspicious place for the black knight, but maybe knight g5 is coming next. So short castle, bishop g7 take, short castle. So seems like that Grandelius is still in one of his main lines. Well, strange line, but maybe it's okay. Knight c3, d6, yeah, d6 is strong. Now black is breaking the pawn structure of white. h3, maybe a little bit afraid of this bishop g4, but yeah. e5 pawn is falling. White is getting the pawn on h6, but it changed nothing. So the position is equal. Position is completely equal. Nice preparation by Grandelius. Still, the game went on. Not sure actually who is playing for a win. I guess no one. Little tactics. King g7. But is it not just much better for Grandelius right now? Because where is the compensation? Well, Grandelius gets much better position. So Hare Krishna has missed. What he has missed? I don't know. I don't understand that white is getting worse here. Of course, this is just completely equal. So knight b5. Maybe white wants to get advantage, but strange play for advantage. So bishop e4. Now rook a d8 is a threat. b2 is hanging. So b4, rook d8, knight b3, bishop c3. Maybe white has missed the move bishop c3, or don't understand exactly. King g7. Okay, black is doing much better now. Just a clean one up, no? Wow. So Grandelius is getting a chance in this kind of endgame. And rook e8. Why to give the bishop? Wow. I understand like nothing in this game. Because why to give the bishop on e4? This is weird. I don't get the point of that. Why not just to go back? Very strange play. Bishop d6, of course, there are many moves here for black as well. You can just play a simple move like c6, but okay, bishop d6. But why to give the bishop away on e4? So take, and bishop e3. So now it's not easy task to win the game, because we have the bishop pair for white. Bishop e5. Again, very strange play. Because it's possible for black, in my opinion, just to play the move b6, get the knight to c5, and try to play a long game. Yes, it's most probably going to be a draw, but bishop e5, bishop f3, knight to c3. So maybe this was the idea of Grandelius, but it's so strange. Bishop d2, indeed. The knight is under attack. Knight a4, because in case of knight takes a2, there's rook c2 and the knight is caught. I don't understand what is going on in this game. Now b7 has fallen. Very strange game. Like very strange game. And we see just a draw. Yeah. Okay, so not the best game ever actually. In completely equal position, out of opening, Hare Krishna blundering pawn. I think we cannot call it different. And then Grandelius returns the favor to Hare Krishna. Well, okay, lucky, very lucky for Hare Krishna, because yeah, you lose the game, that's it, you go home. All right, next game is between, probably in my opinion, the biggest surprise of the tournament. We have Lodici Lorenzo from Italy. So we have Italian grandmaster, young guy, but he has only 2572. So of course it's not a bad rating, but it's not usually high enough to be in the fourth round of the World Cup. He plays as well excellent chess for the current moment, so I think his strength should be maybe plus 100 elo, at least the performance that he's showing during the World Cup. And black is Savian Samuel, so US Grandmaster. He is quite well known. First game ended in a draw, and the second game we have again Italian. So most of the games are somehow e4, e5, and then Italian or Spanish, and as well a lot of guys are playing now c4. d4 got yeah, on the second, it's already third choice of top chess players, d4. Actually, for some moment, I think most of the people played the move d4. Now we see mainly e4 first, and as well c4. All right, so we have Italian game, so many different move orders. Seems like this all these move orders are not changing much. Just Samuel stands for knight e7 line. So this is interesting because he goes like bishop b6. He would have castled first, for example, but he goes bishop b6 first, knight d2, and is not playing the line with a5. So he gives up on the bishop on b6. Well, I don't know, because knight c4, knight takes b6 coming next. Is it not like a little better for white? I think it could be a little better. Bishop e6, this is the idea, because in case I take knight takes b6, there is in between move bishop takes b3, so knight b6, bishop b3, because otherwise the bishop is going to run away. But now we have bishop takes b3, as this is equal, so we see the move d4, very logical. d5 is the threat, d takes e is the threat, knight g6, fearless. Samuel is just fearless. Strange, very strange play. I don't understand why to play like that with black, because black is really risking to get worse, and was it really necessary? This is, I don't know. Maybe it's possible to play like that, but it looks risky to me. DE, normal. Bishop c4, because in case we take back, there is knight takes e5, and knight g4 could be an interesting move, but we have always this knight takes b6. So after DE, bishop c4 looks forced, and white is taking on f6. In case of just bishop takes c4, knight g4, so this is the idea of Samuel. Alright, so now we understand actually. Okay, not bad, not bad, little risky, but not bad. So white is taking on f6, taking on b3, ab looks good, because ab, b4, some pressure on the a file somewhere, queen f6, bishop e3. This move is not very ambitious. I think white could have tried to get little better position here. With the bishop e3, basically I think white is offering a draw. Alright, not a bad result. Let's see a tiebreak here. So another very solid draw. We will see a tiebreak tomorrow between the Italian Grandmaster and American. Yeah, another boring draw, so both players been happy with the draw. We have Grebnev against Maxim Vachier-Lagrave. Yesterday, fast draw. I think Maxim been tired after this very exhausting match against Artyomov, which he managed to win just in a sudden death. So Maxim yesterday with white pieces with a fast draw. And today Grebnev with the white pieces as well, a relatively fast draw. Yeah, not a very ambitious line with bishop b5. Seems like he is too afraid to try to check Maxim's memory in the main lines of Naiditsch. So he is choosing to play bishop b5 check, very safe line. And yes, this line was d5, e5, e6. Yes, this is just close to an equal position. Here we have the move bishop b4. Interesting way to play for black. Not 100% sure that it's actually the best way. I guess it is a preparation of Maxim. Just to me it looks strange to play bishop b4 and bishop a5. I don't know. Usually we see much more moves like knight g7. So something more normal to get the knight to f5. This time bishop b4. Maybe it's a great idea. Just it's difficult to understand why it's so great to get the bishop to b6. I guess knight e7, knight f5 is becoming more powerful. But white has improved the structure. White can play bishop on b2 or get like knight to d2, knight to b3 to defend upon on d4. Is it the best that black can do? I don't know. I don't know. Looks strange to me, but again, I guess Maxim, he knows what he's doing. Short castle, knight b3, so nice position for the knight. And we see the move f6. Yeah, this is quite typical to play f6. Take and rook takes f6. Is this position better for white, or is it still just equal? Hard to say. We have a bad bishop on c1. In case the bishop would be somewhere on g3, this should be better for white, I guess. Now with the bishop on c1, not sure. And we see white playing the very straight move b5. So the game is going to be or better for white or just equal. White wants to get the knight to e5, but on the other hand with b5, black knight is getting to a5. So black is going to change some pieces. Maybe it was worth trying to play more calm with the move bishop on d2, or try to play bishop g5 followed by bishop h4, bishop g3. So just try to play a long game. Personally, I like the move bishop d2 because now we want to play the move b5. Eventually black is gonna play like the move a6, which is, yeah, a6. I don't know, because usually black tries not to do the move a6. Somewhere we have to see if a4 is possible, or maybe just to do some simple moves like rook a e1, rook e2, followed by rook f e1, slow play, some pressure on the e6 pawn. I think eventually slight advantage for white, but we have the move b5, knight a5, knight e5, queen e8, take. It looks like equal to me, because I don't know how to get better here with white. Knight f5 is coming next, so the knight is going to take the bishop from a5 is going to take the knight, and we will see an equal rook endgame. Rook c1, knight f5, rook c8. Yeah, now I think it's just equal. Very hard to imagine that this position is better for white. h6, okay, solid play. Queen g4, queen e4. Yeah, this is just equal. Both players playing very solid game, and finally they repeat the moves. Yeah, I think initially Grebnev was happy with the draw. That's why he chose this line with bishop b5. Maxim Vashilograf played this idea with bishop b4, bishop a5. It's playable, but I don't know if this is the best. In my opinion, white managed to get some small advantage, but of course it was not enough to create some serious threat. So the game ends in a draw. Then we have Sergisyan against Liang Evander. Actually, yesterday I was sure that at some moment Liang Evander is going to score a full point. But then when I saw the result, it was a draw. Very long game, which ended in a draw. But Liang Evander missed a huge chance. I think he was just completely winning. So, yeah. Quite not an easy task to play the next day after missing a completely winning position. Now Sergisyan is white, and we see again Catalan, again d takes c4. So many games with the same openings. It's like all the players agree that these are the best openings for black. Quite funny, but sometimes we have in chess this kind of tendencies on a top level that a lot of players are just playing the same openings. It's a bit strange, but yeah, it does happen. So a6, a4, bishop d7, take, bishop c6, all is theory, quite a well-known line. Yes, so this line, I think, been played so often, and in my opinion it just equal. So we have the move e3 been played, knight d7. Sometimes black is choosing to play a5 as the idea, knight a6 and knight b4. Now white is pushing the move a5, but it does not change much. That's the point, that the idea for black is just to wait, because white cannot do really anything here. Even white misses, I think, the move e5, because white to let black play so fast the move e5, and this is a draw. Okay, we cannot even call it a game. I guess Sergisyan was happy with the draw, and Liang Evander as well after yesterday's. We can call it a disaster, because he really had a winning position. To make a draw in a winning position is always difficult. So draw. All right, next we have Lekong Liem against Kartik, surprising player number 2 of the World Cup with just 2576, and Kartik is not a well-known player because I think he didn't play so many tournaments abroad. He is crushing one guy after another in a huge style. Yeah, the style of play of Kartik is he shows unbelievable play. First game it was a draw, and this is the second game. Kartik now was a move d4. We have the Nimzo again, rook e8, so the Giri line. People stopped to play the move d5. Rook e8, knight e2, d5, knight d7. All is pretty normal. And rook d1, a little bit strange setup by Kartik, because I think it's just equal. And we have the move h6. Lekong Liem sought for a very long time before playing the move h6, and indeed h6 is looking strange. The question is, why not just to take it, then to play like b5 and bishop b7, just to finish development? Can this be better for white? I don't know. I think it should be close to equal. As well, black can try to play instantly the move c5, looks also very solid. Instead we have the move h6 been played, b3, bishop b2 coming next. Now black is taking on c4, playing c5 and h3 as well. d5 probably is looking interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the move h6 by Le Congliem, because why to do that? Maybe he plays for a win, so it means he wants to get some interesting position and to outplay Kartik. But yeah, not easy. Not an easy thing to do to outplay Kartik. His elo is small, but he plays very good chess, so a little risky what Le Congliem is doing. We have h3 played by Kartik. Well, why to play h3? Is it... I don't know. I don't know why not to go first like bishop b2. He plays h3. How h3 is gonna help white? No idea, so strange play. I don't understand move like h3. We have b6, normal. Black bishop is getting to b7 and knight e4 as well. Quite unusual, I guess. In most of the cases, we should see the move d5 or bishop b2, rook ac1. So preparation for playing the move d5. We have knight e4 instead. Bishop b7, take, check. Bishop e4, but this is, I think, just equal. So Kartik is just playing to equalize, because how this can be better for white, it is not possible. When we have this hanging pawns d4, c4, usually white is aiming to have as many pieces on the board as possible to create some attack or to create some push in the center. Now that we have the bishop changed and the knight changed, the pawns are just weak, so in case somebody can play for a win, it is just black. And we have Le Congliem's very interesting decision, queen f5. I like it, because this endgame can be only better for black. c4 pawn is so weak, rook c8 coming with a huge pressure on c4, so beautiful play by Le Congliem. Queen f5, very strong. As well, I think rook ac8 is looking good. So, no, but bishop h7, bishop e4, this is looking really strange as well. Knight e4. Kartik is not playing his best game, so we have the move h3. Still, it is unknown why h3 is useful. And then we have this knight e4, take, and bishop e4. Yeah, not a good game by white, I think. Queen f5, queen b7, rook d8, queen b7. Wow, very risky approach. Queen has almost no squares to go. And rook to d2. What is that? Ooh, what a play by Kartik. So strange. Queen a5. Okay, now after queen to a5, the rook c8 is probably next. Queen f3, the queen is going back. f7 under attack, so king g8. Black is playing for a win. In case black would like to have a draw, queen f5. So black plays for a win, I think, obviously, because c4 pawn is weak. b5, so the idea that Liko as well has been playing today. b5, winning control over the dark squares. cb. c5 is looking nice, but I think there is just knight takes c5 and rook takes d2. So no c5. That's why cb, ab. So obviously black is at least equal plus. The idea of black is knight f6, knight d5, pressure on the d4 pawn in the long run. As well, the pawn on a3 is quite weak. So yes, Le Congliem outplays Kartik. Or maybe it's better to say Kartik outplays himself by having this h3, knight e4, bishop h7, bishop e4. Strange play. Maybe Le Congliem, so his idea, he's correct. He played for a win and he managed to get a position where he can try to win the game. Very impressive, because this opening of black is objectively, I think, not looking so good, but yeah, maybe practically it was a good decision to do that against Kartik. Rook d1, so rook d2, rook d1, very strange play, and b4. Okay, d5. So black is trying to win the game by playing the move b4. A bit more careful player would choose first to play on knight f6, but maybe b4 is very strong, because in case of a4 we have this b4 pawn, this is good. But Kartik goes d5. So he lets black play knight on c5. Wow. Also d5, just 5 minutes of thinking to let black play knight c5, Queen f3, so risky. Everything is hanging. I mean, how to play a move like d5? I don't understand that, because it's so risky. Knight c5, Queen f3. Problems on the d file. a3 pawn might fall. b3 is possible. So many options for black. Queen a4 played by Le Congliem. Rook d1 still under attack. Bishop takes h6. Like what? What is this? Unbelievable play by Kartik. I mean, how to play like that? Just unbelievable play, because it's even hard to understand what's the point of that. So bishop takes h6 and we have b takes a3. Could Le Congliem predict move as bishop takes h6? I think it is impossible. So ba, why not take the bishop on h6? So probably the idea of white is to play now a takes b4, and black can choose between taking on a1 and taking the pawn on b4. So let's say queen takes b4 and we have rook a8, rook takes a8, and d takes e6. f7 is hanging, and as well the rook on a8 is hanging. So quite a nice tactic by Kartik. The question is, what happens in case of queen a1, rook takes a1, rook takes a1 check, king has to go to h2, and knight c5 is under attack. Is there a good square to go with a knight? Maybe no good square, so white is gonna give a check and then take e6, take e6. Well, beautiful tactic by Kartik, unbelievable. Just in 5 minutes he plays his bishop takes h6. Wow. Le Congliem, ba of course, knight c3, queen c4. Still, white is, in my opinion, suffering, but now we have the move d6. Position is getting very dynamic. Knight d7, knight c3 is under attack, pawn a3 is very strong, so white has still to be careful here. Queen g3, defending the bishop, defending the pawn on d6, rook c6. Again, problems with the pawn on d6. Bishop e3, bishop g5. So Kartik hopes to make a draw. g6, of course, bishop g7, bishop b2. So instead of attacking the pawn on d6, now the black bishop is getting to b2. So Kartik is in trouble. Kartik is in trouble. Rook c1, rook c2. Both players with 8 minutes for Le Congliem and just 1 minute for Kartik. We are move 38. Again, very tactical battle between these two players, but it seems like black is just winning, no? If I'm not mistaken, Le Congliem wins the game. There is rook takes a2 coming, as well as bishop takes c1, so both is looking completely winning. So Le Congliem in the next round. Whoa, nice play by Le Congliem. He manages to outplay Kartik. Very interesting game, but Kartik, I think Kartik played just too safe. Once you want to make a draw too much, you start to take strange decisions, and I think this is what happened to Kartik, because before that he played very good matches. Otherwise, of course, he would be as well not in the round 4. But in this position, to play b3 is normal, but white is doing obviously a little better, so why not to play some normal moves like bishop b2, rook c1, prepare for d5. Instead of that, white is playing the move h3, which is strange, b6, and knight e4 is horrible. So this is strategically just wrong. Not because the move is bad, the move is alright, but strategically it is not what white should do. White should try to keep as many pieces as possible, and we see what happened very soon. Also this, like bishop h7, bishop e4 is just the wrong plan. Here black is doing already slightly better, and from this moment as well Le Congliem played very good. So Le Congliem in great shape, and it seems like he's getting to the 5th round of the World Cup with a win against Kartik. Next we have Shankland and Rapport white. Yesterday it was just a draw, so Rapport, I guess with white pieces, hopes to put some pressure on Shankland. And let's see actually if he manages. Oh, very funny. We have symmetrical everything. Quite nice, yeah, completely symmetrical. So d takes c5, queen a5, yeah, now we're back to Grunfeld. So these positions we see in Grunfeld a lot. Knight g5, yes, why not try to get the bishop? Bishop f4, queen on h4, not doing so well, but probably the bishop cannot be saved. h5, interesting. Why to play h5? I don't know. I honestly don't know why to play the move h5. White takes on e6, okay, pretty normal. Maybe black been a little bit afraid of moves like knight e4 because h7 might be hanging, but is it so dangerous to get like knight e4 next? I don't know. So we see the move h5, of course. The players sitting on the board, they see much more than I do just by looking at the position. Again, I would like to mention that all the analysis are done without an engine, so a lot of mistakes eventually in my explanations, but this is the way I see chess. Okay, queen takes, bishop pair for white. On the other hand, all the black pieces are nicely in the game, and yes, queen e5, queen b6, e3. It gets quite tactical. Knight e6, trying to get the bishop. Yes, and this should be just the end. Yeah, this is equal. So Rapport tried to get a better play, but not really managing. And the game ends with a draw. Yeah. So just a draw in the first two games between Shankland and Rapport. In tiebreaks, I think Rapport is a big favorite against Shankland, but let's see. Shankland is in a good shape. He managed to kick out from the tournament Vidit. So Rapport, of course, is, in my opinion, a different level player than Vidit. Rapport is much stronger. So it's going to be a difficult task for Shankland to play 4 rapid games against Rapport, eventually 2, if the 2 games are draws and another 2. So Rapport is big favorite in my opinion, but let's see. Then we have Wojtaszek and Aronian. Aronian won the first game, so it was basically for Aronian needs a draw to get to the round number 5. He won the first game, nice game. Wojtaszek needs to win with the white pieces. Again, Queen's Gambit, this time with a move bishop g5. All is theory. Now Queen's Gambit we see almost everywhere. f3 line, all right. So quite interesting because e4 is the idea. a5, all is still theory. b5, all theory. Rook c1, knight d7, bishop f2, a4. Yeah, all is well known. e4, take. Both players, I think, still in their handbook. Just bishop a6. I don't know. Bishop a6 a bit strange. Bishop a6, but maybe it's a good move. So take b4. So black has to do something fast. Once you see this kind of center, it means black must do something. Take. Very interesting. Black is sacrificing the exchange actually for Aronian, who just needs a draw to go in such a mess. Wow. Usually Queen's Gambit is safe, but now we have a completely crazy position. And white is not taking the rook on a8. So let's see, in case we would take queen a8. Sorry, again, my mouse doesn't like to do what I tell my mouse to do. Queen takes a8. Who is doing better? We have exchange up for white. On the other hand, this a3, b2 long term, of course, very dangerous. An endgame would be excellent for black, but is it possible to get to an endgame? White might try to play something somewhere. e5, knight f5, queen g4, just trying to get all the pieces into attack. In my opinion, very complicated position. Hard to say. Hard to say. Maybe black is fine, but it's a game, so Wojtaszek has chances to win. He needs a win. So in case of Wojtaszek, I would be quite happy actually regarding the opening. We have queen f3, so white is not winning the rook. Queen a5. Black is giving the rook. What is happening? What is happening here? I don't know. Queen a5. Was it necessarily? A little strange to me. Maybe it is the best, but for me it's strange. So knight f5. Very tactical position. Bishop f8, e5, and we see the move queen d5. Wow. He is sacrificing a piece like queen d5. Amazing. What is that? Take. So black is a full rook down. I don't understand that. This is something I really don't understand, how this can be okay for black. Just a full rook down. Queen takes d5, knight takes d5. Okay, knight wants to go to c3 to win b1, but bishop e1, normal. Defending from knight c3, g6, knight to g3, c5. What a position. Very strange. Very strange game. It's a rook up for weight, and it seems to be okay for black. How is it possible? I don't understand that at all. I mean, of course, I can see that Aronian choosing it not for nothing, but what an amazing idea just to play an endgame rook down. So maybe Aronian knew that, but how to know that this position could arise? I don't understand, because if I would be white here, I would think, okay, I should be doing better. Just a full rook up. So weird. This is really strange. But as we see, the game develops definitely not in favor of white, because now the rook on c2 is very strong. Bishop b4, just take, rook is hanging, knight is hanging on e2, knight d4, rook c5, rook d2, and black is taking. Next move is knight c3. So Wojtaszek is offering a draw. I guess now, of course, Aronian thinks it's enough to get to the round number 5, but otherwise I'm sure that Aronian would play here for a very long time with black. We have 3 versus 2, but we have rook plus knight. This is an unpleasant combination. So rook endgame would be an easy draw, 3 versus 2, and as well knight endgame is not that hard to hold. 3 versus 2, even though knight endgame is already tricky, but we have knight and rook versus knight and rook, so this is a tough combination to hold. This would be another 100 moves of suffering for Wojtaszek. Luckily for Wojtaszek, it's enough for Aronian to make a draw to get to the round number 5. So very convincing play by Aronian. First game, easy win. Second game, something completely insane. We see an endgame with a rook down, but how this can be a draw? So once again, let us take a look at this position, because for me it's completely shocking. e5, so white is having this monstrous attack, and black is just playing the move queen d5. Unbelievable. Would you do that? To go for an endgame with just a rook down. It's not a piece down, it's just a full rook down. Take, bishop e1. So, well, in case I would see this position for the first time and I would have 1 second to evaluate the position, I would say just winning for it. What else? Rook up. How this can be not winning when you're rook up? Unbelievable. Yeah. What a play. What a play by Aronian. So very strong, yeah. Very strong. Alright, so he deserves to be in the 5th round of the World Cup. And we have Sindarov against Yuan Yi. The first game ended into a draw. Yes, it was not very exciting actually. And the second game, now the current position, what is that? White is pushing. White is pushing, so Sindarov tries to win. Maybe in case he manages to get like bishop to d3 and to play c4, so he might get winning chances against Yuengi. Let's see what happened here in the game. We have the again we have the Russian or Petrov d f5. Actually, this line, yes, because we have the line with knight. Interesting, yeah. Bishop d3, take the move order. I'm just double checking the move order. Knight d7, take. Knight c3, yes, queen h5, f5, all is correct. Rook b1 as well, the main move, b6, rook e1, all is theory, and I always thought it's just a draw. So let's see what is the idea of Sindarov. He decides just to play this position. I think it's very close to be equal. How to play here for a win? Alright, put the pawn on a6. Of course, it's always double-edged because you might make pressure against the b5 pawn. On the other hand, there is rook to b8 followed by rook b6. So it can be good, it can be bad. King f1, hoping to get like rook e1, some pressure on the e-file. Queen f7, queen rook e1, rook c8. Why rook to c8 and not just to play like rook e8? Is it not just a draw? I don't know. Looks to me to be very close to a draw, but black is deciding to play rook c8, queen e3, and now rook e8. Okay, if queen e3 is a must, then rook c8 is quite strong. What happens actually if I take here? Probably there is queen e7 with the idea of queen d6 next, or queen d8. Okay, so we see rook e8, queen f4, take. Yeah, it should be a draw. How he managed to get a pawn up position? Maybe queen g5, so you and me miss something, because otherwise it's hard to imagine that white has enough time to go with the king to b4 during the queens are on the board. So here we see queen g5, h takes, g of course is very solid as well. I think black thought that maybe he's in time to get king to b6, but how is it possible to be in time? Or maybe he thought that there might be something like push and then to run with the king to h4 and create some counterplay, but I don't think it's possible. So very strange. I think he just blundered the pawn, Yuengi. It looks like just a blunder. I don't get the point of playing. Let's go back a little bit. This queen g5, very weird. Just a g, and I think it should be just a draw. So black has missed, and now pawn down, not easy. So they play. The idea of white should be to play c4 in a good moment. Maybe there is no c4, but on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. Maybe like that, we should get the bishop to d3. I don't know. I'm not so sure, of course, about the evaluation of position. In case white manages to get like bishop d3 and play c4, then it's tricky. But maybe it's just not possible to get it. So then it's a draw. So not sure. Let's see. Quite an interesting endgame. Let us go back. Lekong Liam against Kartik. Is the game still in progress? Yes, it is, but it looks to be completely over here. The game is over. Exchange up for Lekong Liam. No obvious attacking chances for white. The knight is bad, so for example knight d3, I guess there is just check, and rook to d1, so we pin the knight, we take a piece. I think it's over. Lekong Liam is doing his job, and we have blue bomb Donchenko. Yes, Donchenko is winning. So we took a look at the game earlier and we said that Donchenko probably has excellent chances, and yes, he is winning. He's in the round 5, kicking out blue bomb from the tournament with a great play. We saw, I think, the game till the moment, yes, this is what we saw, till b5, knight b6, indeed, knight takes d5, yeah, this is what we thought that should be much better for white, and it is. Take, king f1, very safe play by Donchenko, nice play. What would happen in case I would just go rook c d1, there is knight e2 check, king f1, and the knight goes to c3, yeah. So king f1, rook c7, horrible position for black. Horrible position for black, king on f8, so bad. Also rook h8 at some moment, rook d1, yeah, this is just completely over as well. Blue bomb was very little time on the clock. Now pieces are being changed. Bishop pair, pawn up, complete game over. Beautiful game by Donchenko. Very, very impressive one. Just impressive. h5, h6, h7, that's it. Donchenko in the round 5 of the FIDE World Cup. Unbelievable achievement for Alexander Donchenko, playing very nice tournament. Yeah, congratulations. And we have Pranav Yakuboyev. So Yakuboyev wins. Wow. Yakuboyev won this extremely strange game. So we saw till the moment of rook e5, and we said maybe queen c4. Yes, we see queen c4, but still, maybe the position of black is already bad. Bishop c8, no moves. No moves for the bishop. Rook c6, wow. These are bad news. Unbelievable. Queen c2, just nowhere to go. Bishop has no squares to go, and in case of rook e8, I think there is just rook b1 followed by knight b6, and white wins the bishop. So Pranav played for a win and lost the match, lost the game, and with the game, of course, the match. Exchange up for white, yeah, hopeless. This is just hopeless. Yakuboyev is getting to the next round. Wow. What a game, what a game. I would not think that Yakuboyev is capable of playing such a tournament, but yes, he's playing a great tournament, but he plays very strange, so hard to understand his chess. Very strange opening, very strange moves, and then somehow he manages to outplay his opponents, but here we had a clear case that Pranav started to play for a win, of course, with the black pieces. Still good play by white, of course. Strange play, very strange play, but good play, yeah. Then we have Kamer against Yesipenko. We said that Yesipenko might be able to push a little bit, and yes, the position we see currently is indeed slightly better for black, but Kamer should be able to keep it to a draw. We have actually move 46, so Kamer is defending. Probably we're gonna see g takes f3, maybe something like rook h4, some pressure on h3. No, g3 we see, so Kamer thinks that f3 pawn is not dangerous. Of course, he wants to catch the black rook on b4, but it's difficult to catch. It's very difficult to catch the rook, especially when the pawn is on f3. So let's say black can play knight to c6, then the d4 square is there for the rook. On the other hand, after knight c6, maybe Kamer actually is capable of getting the pawn on f3. So yeah, nice move g3, nice move g3 in case it works again. Quite a forced decision, but the threat of a3 is dangerous. Could it be that Yesipenko missed the move g3, or he... strange, I don't know. Little bit f3, g3. Let's see if Yesipenko actually prepared something. Or it's just gonna be a draw, so most probably we're gonna see a knight c6, and yes, knight is going away from the pawn on f3, so this should be a draw. Even maybe white will have some slight chances to play for a win. VE against Matsud loses, very interesting bishop endgame that we saw move 40. So white took on c6, bishop g4, and king e7. Probably black is not in time with moves like h3 because of king e3, king f2, king g3, and to remove the bishop somewhere, play g4, g3. I guess there is king e5, c6, c7. So not in time. That's why we see the move king e7 being made. So king is gonna stop the pawns, the white pawn on c5. But now it's probably just a draw. The king is too near, so the c-pawn should give excellent drawing chances. Without the c-pawn, it would be just over, bishop d5, but now the c6 pawn is alive, so what? Bishop f5. Very, very nice play by VE. Just what a funny move, bishop f5, because obviously the bishop cannot be taken, but yeah. And some people say Chinese, they don't have humor, but I think bishop f5 is a great example of an excellent feeling for the humor, because it's just funny to play bishop f5. Changes not so much, but what a funny move to make. We have bishop g2, of course king f5, h3, g2, so black is winning. Bishop g2, now in case of h3 there is king takes g3, so probably position is a draw. Parham manages to hold to a draw. Knight g1, yeah. Oh, but very funny guy VE. To play this bishop f5, and now just to play g1 knight check to take king takes c7 next. Okay, he did everything he could with black to try to win the game. He did not manage, but Parham was already suffering, so he had to sweat to hold with white to a draw. Tomorrow we will see a very interesting tiebreak match between VE and Matsudlu. My favorite is VE. I think he's in a great shape. He's a strong, rapid and blitz player as well. Matsudlu, but somehow I think VE is in a great shape. And another very interesting match that I'm looking for tomorrow is going to be between Pragnananda and Dubov, who made now relatively two fast draws in classical chess. Both of them very strong in rapid and in blitz chess. So at least two very, very interesting matches. Of course, there could be more interesting matches, but these are my two favorites because I think it's just going to be extremely exciting between these four guys. All right, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Probably I'm gonna be online as well today evening together with Georgi. We're gonna check some interesting historical games. In case you like it, please join us tonight. Otherwise, wish you a good day, and yeah, thank you for watching. Maybe see you next time soon. Thank you.